Hey y'all, hey. It's me, y'all. I am in the car and I'm headed to go get some cardio in. I'm just gonna walk and more than anything, just be outside. Y'all, here in the Midwest, it's chilly, but when I tell you, this is one of my favorite seasons, y'all. Excuse me. The trees, or the leaves on the trees, I should say, they are absolutely beautiful. You know, we're right smack dab in the autumn season. And as I've gotten older, y'all, this hands down is my favorite time of the year. It can be a little warmer, but the colors of the trees, they are so beautiful. And y'all, I got my heavy hoodie on. Believe over everything is what it says, I believe. And put on a insulated jacket. The sun is bright. And I'm getting ready to get out. I'm already out, but I'm gonna park and get some sun. But y'all, hopped on to say hello. And while I'm driving, I'm thinking, and I want to share this with you. Wherever you are in your life, even if you feel like it's somebody else's fault, you've got to learn to take responsibility of it yourself. You've got to understand that you must take agency over your life. You've got to make decisions that are going to propel you forward or that are going to help you rebound. You've got to make decisions that are best for you. If you're the head of household, over your family, your health, you know, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, guys, you can't play victim. You can't make excuses. You got only so many minutes, maybe a few days or so, to cry, lick your wounds, and get back up and do what it is that you need to do, you know, to turn your life around or to propel it even further than it's already gone. You've got to go ahead and take control over your life, okay? Y'all, what I have come to learn is that life changes, it evolves. People who you think may be there for you for whatever reason, they're not going to be able to be there for you all the time. You know, just family dynamics change, and it's not good or bad. You know, it's just, it is what it is. And you have to understand that it's up to you to make those decisions to go out and get what it is that you want in life, all the way around, you know, all the way around. Y'all, I am the youngest of, it was 7 of us. I've lost 2 siblings. And when I say 7, I mean on my mom's side. My dad had a few other siblings, but I was raised in the house by 6 others. 2 have passed away. I have 1 that lives here in the same town that I live in, 2 on the West Coast, and 1 in Oklahoma. So that's kind of Midwest as well. But we're all grown adults, different family dynamics. Of course, we are family, but we have our own family, you know, like silo families, I guess you could call it that. I don't know if I'm using that term right. But, you know, everybody's pretty much doing their own thing. We're there for each other, but at the end of the day, we are all living separate lives. And so for me, y'all, I'm the youngest, have no children, no grandchildren. I'm divorced. You know, my mom and dad, they've passed on. My family, my friends, I have a handful of close friends. They have their families, you know. They have their children and their grandchildren, and, you know, they're kind of doing their own thing. Some of my girlfriends and friends that I grew up with, we've kind of gone different directions, and I'm not the same person that I once was. So there's certain things that I don't really care to do or have a desire to do. You know, those things that I used to do, I don't really want to do those things anymore. And so I've grown and evolved. And along with that, I haven't been the best at having those deep connections with people who kind of are on the same path as I am. And so I know I need to get better with that. But in the meantime, and even when that happens, if it does or if it doesn't, I am responsible for my own happiness, my own health, my success, all the way around. And so I'm very intentional in doing that, even if I have to do it alone. So yeah, I had a wonderful weekend. I was intentional in doing the hard, which is being in attendance for my neighborhood home association meeting. First time attending that meeting, y'all. Met a couple of people, exchanged phone numbers, and I'm proud about that because I really didn't want to go, but I made myself go because I know that I have to take responsibility for connecting with others, you know? And also, my message to you is you've got to push the envelope. You've got to do those things that you're not totally comfortable with doing. You know, you've got to get out of your comfort zone. And so, yeah, I had a wonderful weekend. I went to church this morning, a visiting church, and the message was so powerful and it spoke to my heart. The pastor was delivering a message about, you know, a delay is not a deny. It's not necessarily a denial. And he was preaching about Joseph in the Bible. You know, he was the son of like 11 siblings, and his siblings turned against him and they threw him in a pit. And long story short, he ended up being a prisoner. But then, gosh, I forget the gentleman's name who was going insane, but they needed someone that was it to play the harp? No, that was David. Yeah, I'm mixing the story all up. Go ahead and read it for yourself. But basically, Joseph was in dire straits, you know, and what was meant for bad and evil, God turned that around and said, you know, I gave you this vision, I gave you a dream, you know what I was calling you for. And it didn't look like that with how things was turning out, you know, with his siblings throwing him in the pit, and then he ended up prison, and then he ended up being a mighty, mighty man of God. And my message to you, well, I had a couple of messages, is be responsible for your own life, and you can't play victim. You know, you have to go ahead and see that whatever it is that God has promised you, or, you know in your heart that is for you, just because you don't have it yet, it's coming. But in the meantime, you got to do what you need to do while you're waiting. And also what I received in the message was you have to ask God, you know, what is it that I'm learning in this waiting? He also delivered a message that said, don't just say, why is this happening to me? Ask yourself, what are you teaching me in this? And so, y'all, in the space where I'm at, or the season that I'm in, you know, I've had time to introspect. I am a person that introspects on the regular, and I really try to be honest with myself. I had to look to see what was going on over here, y'all. You got to keep your eyes open. I'm a person that will really play, not devil's advocate, but I try to look at all sides and see where I am responsible and where I'm at in life. What part do I play? And then I move accordingly. And so I just want to share that with you all, that anybody out here you're looking at this video, remind yourself that you are responsible for your own life. You know, someone may have done you wrong, but you can't continue to say what they did or they didn't do. You have to say, this is my life. I'm going to take agency over my life, and I'm going to do the hard. I'm going to do the difficult. I'm going to do the parts that I don't want to do, but I know by doing it, it's going to help me to get closer in where God's calling me to. And I'm going to really be honest and real about what part I play and where I am in life, and to also trust in God, trust in his character, and not just be caught up in how long it's taking you to get where you thought you were going to be years ago. Your time is not on God's time, okay? God is perfect. He is all-knowing, and he sees you, and he's like, you do your part, I'm going to get you where I promised you I was going to get you. I'm going to give you what I said I was going to give you. But in the meantime, get the lesson, get the message, and don't look outside of yourself. Look within yourself and say, what is it that I'm doing or what I'm not doing, and look to God. Because when you have God, when you have peace, when you have the Holy Spirit in you, then you're going to have joy forever. You know, doesn't matter the circumstances or the situation, what you have or what you don't have. Know that that joy, that peace, nobody can take that away from you, because your Creator, your God, he gave that to you. So I hope you had a blessed weekend. I had a blessed weekend. And yeah, it's been a great, peaceful, wonderful weekend. And I'm going to encourage you as well to stay on the path that God has called you to. Get the lesson, get the message, and all will be well. Alrighty, y'all. Until next time, I'll see you later. Always know God is real. He loves you. He's rooting on each and every last one of us to win. All right. Have a great rest of your day, evening, or whenever you see this video. Bye, y'all. See you later. Have peace. Bye-bye.